Yes, my name is Danielle, and I'm the handbag lady, basically. Most of you that I have actually had the pleasure of meeting since crashing the Chamber of Commerce Christmas party last December know me as this, or more commonly as just the bag lady. Which is fine because I've been called worse, and mostly by my two ex-husbands, but that's another story entirely. So yes, I sell handbags, but today I'm actually mobile, so I'm not just in the Hawkesbury, I'm everywhere. You may have seen my van driving around in the past, around town with a big Deluxe logo and the Kardashian sisters across it, which is no longer, I'm afraid. But when you've got a 16-year-old and a 5-year-old, it's really not a joyride having all of us in the front seat of a high-ace van. So it's no joyride, I can tell you. So you'll recognise me more these days by me driving around in my little Mini Cooper with pink Deluxe number plates and eyelashes. Yes, she has eyelashes. I did start my business in the Blue Mountains with a shop in the main street of Springwood back in 2007. But I've always had my own small business since I was 16 years old. I certainly know that feeling of waiting for the next sale, sitting around waiting for that person to walk in and purchase, to make the rent, to make outgoings, to come up constantly racking your brain, trying to come up with a product or a service that was going to keep you ahead of the rest, that was going to keep your business sustainable, and especially in an area like Springwood where the demographic was a lot older. So I also wanted to actually try and create something and provide something for the younger families that were expanding and growing in the area. My little shop was a regular finalist in a lot of business awards. So it was a regular finalist in Independent Small Business Awards, and the prestigious Blue Mountains Business Awards, which was a totally different experience in itself. That was based on application and essay writing and being sustainable. So it was a massive thing for me, and I was very proud of that. But I was also presented with the Rotary Award in 2008 for the difference that my little shop had made to my community, for all the donations to the local schools, work experience, mentoring and fundraising for the Springwood Salvation Army that I did every year that I was there for 3 years at Christmas time. I was also an active member within BizNet, which is somewhat similar to the business networking side of things here in the Chamber of Commerce. I've also started a new business this year just because I'm a mother of two and I have so much free time, as a stylist and an events decorator, and I'm also studying events management by correspondence, and also started working as a stylist and events designer for a company out in Bathurst. I come from a background of television, was a professional singer and MC for over 10 years, and I had my own community radio program called Funky and Spunky every Wednesday afternoon between 3 and 5 with Air 87.6 FM, which is now known as Vintage FM. Hi boys, I hear you here today, there we are. And apparently Roscoe's still there, or Kevin, yeah, Kevin says hi apparently. They're still there. So yes, I am a mum of 2 boys as well, and challenging. 16 is a fantastic age. I love having teenagers. And I just wanted to get across that I do actually live, shop and support local business and schools in the area. In fact, this Friday night I'm actually working with the Currajong Public School running a fundraiser there, along with the President's wife, I believe. She's out there doing that. And I just find helping other small businesses in the area and other people in general just really rewarding. I've been helping voluntarily for another business who is actually a part of the Chamber of Commerce, Illusions Lounge in Windsor, and I've been helping with their events and promotions in my own time, and trying to basically help her introduce a really classy modern venue into the area, which I think the Hawkesbury really needs, especially for the ladies as well, somewhere classy. We've got our clubs and things like that, but this is a proper sort of lounge, somewhere where you can go, somewhere classy, not surrounded by poker machines and things like that. And we really need to step up and move forward in providing these facilities. I actually just really believe that the Hawkesbury needs these modern venues, as well as providing again a service and a venue that caters for a younger generation, which inevitably will determine the sustainability in the area for years to come, because really, They're the future. They are the future of our community and the sustainability for the Hawkesbury. So we actually really need to remember, when we touched on that before, with the youth of today, we need to remember that. Since joining the Chamber, I've met some wonderful people and witnessed the wonderful generosity and awareness provided by the executive, which is a wonderful thing. But I also believe that we can't forget and need to focus on the people who actually live, shop and work here, as they are the ones that actually stimulate our local economy and keep the Hawkesbury sustainable. It's these people like you and I that are the workers and the spenders, the building blocks for the Hawkesbury's sustainable financial future. I feel that not enough is happening to keep our locals, which we touched on this morning earlier, feeling passionate about the area that they live in and shop in. And a few things that I think could restore that morale and sense of pride is something like, a big annual Australia Day event for the locals. Not for tourism, not for outside, but for our actual locals. Held in the big Richmond Park, say. We've got so much space out here. We've got a plethora of venues and land that we can create wonderful events for the community. Also, since moving from the Blue Mountains out to the Hawkesbury, I've noticed that we actually don't celebrate Anzac Day or actually have a traditional Anzac parade where you would involve your local services and your local schools and all of the kids marching along and having this big, beautiful service, having the community connect together. Therefore, the overflow of having the community together is spending in the local stores and things like that. The more we actually create these events for our communities, the spillover, the overflow, then goes into small business. Maybe more market stall days of a higher standard, so keeping in touch and up to date with the areas that are surrounding us that seem to me personally that are actually taking our local business. So the hills, for example. So if we actually have a higher standard of market, we've got more than enough space to do that. Like every time I drive past that big park in Richmond, all I see is a big empty space and maybe the odd personal trainer kicking some butt, that's about all I see. We've got so many resources, we've got so much space, local talents, skilled dressmakers, artists and craftspeople. We live in one of the most beautiful and unspoiled areas, so close to Sydney, and that's really important. We're not far from Sydney, we're 45, 50 minutes from the CBD. And the area is just so unspoilt. We're so incredibly fortunate, we're so incredibly lucky. And there is a lot of money out here. There is a lot of money to be spent. We have a lot of business owners working and living on the land, and a lot of families out in Currajong, Blacksons Ridge, Grossvale, living in $1 million properties, $1 million houses with a lot of disposable income. And that's really important, and we actually need to tap into those families that are out there with that disposable income and get them shopping local and finding out why they're choosing to go to the hills, Bella Vista, Rouse Hill, Penrith. We need to tap into this. We need to actually ask them why. So when you're out with your friends and you're socialising at dinner, and have a chat, find out, ask them where they shop. Why not? We've got nothing to lose. Find out why, what's missing, because only we can make a difference. They definitely seem to have their finger on the pulse. I see newspapers in Gloria Jeans, obviously they're owned by Hillsong, so they've got their Hills newspapers in there, and they've got their fingers on the pulse, and they're right there ready with their information for you to read while you have your coffee, with all of their major events that they're putting on. I'm speaking to Joe, because Joe, you live in the Hills, you were saying, and you were saying how outstanding their events are, Christmases, and and it's really hard to compete with that, and there's no reason why the Hawkesbury can't do it. Why aren't we doing it? That's what I want to know. That's what I actually want to achieve. They also recently took a local tourist attraction away from us. So I don't know if everyone remembers the sand sculptures along the Windsor River. So they actually, that now belongs to Bella Vista. And I don't see why. Why? Because I went to it. It was in the middle of a park and my feet were black from the dirt when only the year before I was walking along the picturesque Hawkesbury River amongst trees and in a beautiful historic town. So why? We need to look at why. We need to ask why. We need to get our shoppers back, and I believe that it will actually take very little effort and brainstorming. I believe that we can create a beautiful partnership with the local council once again, something that we touched on this morning, and work together to make sure that the Hawkesbury is up to date with the times so that we can ensure that it's a sustainable place to live. More importantly, for our children that are growing up and living here. One day, they're going to need to be working and providing for their families, and I would love them to be able to do that here in the Hawkesbury. And we need to think about that, because in 5 years' time, if these things are happening now, I can assure you we're going to be in big trouble. We need to get together and we need to do something. We need to do something and brainstorm now. I know that there is a good reason why you all joined the Chamber of Commerce in the first place, and a reason why we all got up so bloody early this morning to be here. And maybe it's just that you like the Seagull Resort and Spa's hot buffet breakfast, or maybe it was just that you guys were coming here to check out the very hot and sexy Kerry down the front here. Whatever your reason is, whatever your reason is, I'm actually hoping that you, just like me, you came here to be a part of something great and hopefully make a difference. I'm no 50 Shades of Grey, but please use me and abuse me for whatever skills that I may have to offer. And I'm certainly no expert. I can only go off my own experience in business and the passion that I have for this beautiful place that we live in. We really need to support one another and really see and act on the great potential that the Hawkesbury has to offer. We're also evolving into a retail society that is based on organic principles, a cleaner way of living. What better way to attract out-of-area shoppers than right here in the Hawkesbury? We need to support local businesses that are trying and striving to evolve with the times and the needs of the modern day world, like the Polo Club. We have the most beautiful landscapes for weddings, for gorgeous open spaces, for functions and community events, not to mention the local fresh produce to provide our local restaurants with that golden ticket of organic, paddy to plate, modern principles that are so popular in today's dining. Windsor and Richmond are historical, for goodness sake. We have the oldest pub in Australia. I mean, that should be, we're all Australians, so you know, that should be a tourist attraction in itself. Overlooking the Hawkesbury River. So let's look at tourism and give our locals something to be proud of, because I really think that that's what's missing. The sense of pride, even when I believe that we have some of the most patriotic people that live and work right here on the land in the Hawkesbury. We have so much potential, and I would love nothing more than seeing that come to life. It's time for some fresh ideas and a fresh approach. So let's get our locals back, shopping here, and let's make the Hawkesbury awesome. We have everything we need right here at our fingertips. We just need to do it. I can't do it on my own though, I'm not that bloody good, okay? So I really hope that I've ignited something within you this morning and inspired you to think about small business and the Hawkesbury in a new, vibrant way. I mean, isn't that why we all started our own businesses in the first place? Because we had a need, we had a dream, we could see that something was needed in the Hawkesbury, and we wanted to provide a service for the community. So let's get together, share some ideas, and hopefully make a change. You can call me, you can email me, you can send a pigeon, whichever way you find easier. And of course, if you need a new handbag, I can help you with that too.